Hey guys, what's up? This is Amber and Nathan.
It's me, Nathan.
Thank you. We just got back from Gen Con here, so we're going to have a nice video telling you about our experiences there, the cool things that we saw and things like that. I thought that Gen Con was a fairly large, it's a large convention, but I mean like as far as what people knew what it was. Apparently that's not the case even for those people that do board games and such, but Gen Con is a massive like board game, Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, anything you can possibly imagine convention up in Indianapolis. It's the biggest convention in Indiana, as well as the biggest board game convention in the United States in general. But don't let the fact of the largeness of it fool you. Even though there are like the really big names, of course, like Wizards of the Coast and Paizo and all of those different companies that make the games, they do also have like a little entrepreneur section. So they do like pay attention to their smaller and upcoming companies that are trying to get into the industry and make it like a really big to-do, which we were actually lucky enough to be able to interview a friend of ours that is or has started his own company and made a couple of different games, and we'll show you the interview here. Welcome everybody to the floor of Gen Con here. I've got one of my friends here, right?
Hello.
Hello. And this is going to be the first interview that we've got here for Gen Con, but we wanted to stop by and see your Daywalker Productions booth here at Gen Con. So tell us a little bit about your games.
I've got two games. I created Bio, which is kind of like a long weekend. Bio is kind of like Uno with zombies. And then we have Pass the Anthrax, which I like to say is like Russian roulette without the mess.
Nice, very nice. All right, so I know that Pass the Anthrax, of course, was the first game that I saw that you came out with. And, as we were discussing before this, that Bio was the next one up that just came out, you said November?
Yes, finished up the Kickstarter in November and got everything printed and ends right around the end of December.
Very nice, very cool. All right, so then as far as Pass the Anthrax go, how long does a game usually last?
Pass the Anthrax, it's very fast. It's for generally like 4 to 12 players, but you can play a 12-player game in less than 30 minutes.
Very cool.
Like if you're playing like a 6-player game, you can wrap it up in like 5-10 minutes. Like
Gotcha.
It's very quick. It's more. We tell people it's the game you play while you wait for everyone to show up for game night.
So it's something that someone could just sit down and like have a game.
Yeah, like if you're at the end of the night or like in between games, you just want something that kind of takes up time, but you want to dig into something like real crunchy. You just want something quick, fast, fun. Pass the Anthrax is perfect for it.
Very cool. What about Bio?
Bio takes a little bit longer. It's for up to 6 players. You can play down to 2, but probably at least 3 to 6 players is where you want to play at. It does 6 players pretty well. But you can play a 6-player game in somewhere around 30, 40 minutes, something like that.
Okay, so that's a little bit more
mostly
time.
30. Like occasionally you might stretch it over.
Right. I got you. Very cool. All right, so then as far as like the level of simplicity, like is this something that someone could just pick up and like easily understand, or?
Bio takes a little bit more explaining because like everybody's familiar with like Uno, like the matching colors and card types, but there's new mechanics in Bio that make it a little harder to wrap your head around. Plus you're used to the old, the other mechanics. But with the new mechanic, like it takes a second, but once you've kind of gone through one game, everybody just picks it right up. Like it takes a little longer. They've been demoing Pass the Anthrax today. My guy over here's got a 30-second pitch you can throw out, so it doesn't take long at all. And both of them during development, I played them with like kids and grandparents, like everybody in between.
Nice. So it's like a whole family can play this.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So then, what gave you the idea to make these games?
Early on, like I'm back in the day, I remember my parents, like one of the things that got me into gaming was my parents, like full time, I was a latchkey kid, So like my parents were never home and they were always stressed, always worrying about money and everything else. Like we grew up like lower, like middle class,
right.
But one of the things that always, like we go over to their friend's house and they would sit around the table and play Uno. And I could see in the moment, like everybody was happy, everybody was always having a good time. And it seemed like everybody just kind of forgot all the troubles and stuff for a while.
Right.
So, and then like, it's just kind of stuck in the back of my head. And as I got older, like I was with some of my friends, we were playing was it zombie dice?
Mm-hmm.
And while we were playing, I happened to look on the side of the thing, and it said Steve Jackson Games.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I always knew that games were made by people, but I thought
Right.
they were made by like teams of people.
Right.
And I was like, this has just got one dude's name on it. Like, how hard is it to make a game? So I got into it, and it is a very long, very arduous process, but it's also very rewarding.
Oh, I'm
it's
sure.
it's art that you can play.
Right. I think it's just so cool. Like, you know, I'm not very imaginative myself, but to be able to like think of a whole game like from beginning to end, it just like I'm sure it took a lot of time.
A lot of problem solving.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
why is it dragging here?
Right.
Like, there's too many cards, there's not enough cards.
Right.
Why is this card not doing what it's supposed to do? It's just a process of elimination, and once you finally get it working, then you can start adding things back in. It's really just problem solving.
Right.
Very long form problem solving.
Very awesome. All right, so then how does it feel to be on the Gen Con floor for the first time?
It feels amazing. This has always been kind of a life goal, because I've been coming to Gen Con for years.
Right.
Of course, I missed like the past few years, like everybody did, because
Yeah.
it wasn't here. But up to that point, I probably came every year for somewhere about 7-8 years.
Right.
And like, just being here, and then at the time I was making my own games, and I was like, I'd really like to sell here sometime, but I don't know,
yeah.
I don't know how to do it. But over the years, I just built some confidence, and got a few things together, and talked to the right people, and finally got to like the opportunity to do it. I had enough that I could actually do it, and it feels great to be here.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, for the first time being here, I mean, you've got some amazing like pictures up and everything like that. So I mean, it looks like you've been doing this for years. So
thank you. Yeah, I try and do everything. I try and give people like an upscale feel at a low scale price.
right. No, it looks really good for being your first time, and I'm sure since the pandemic and everything, this is the first time people getting out to see this, and like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been bombarded like every single day.
It's simultaneously gratifying and exhausting.
Oh, I'm sure. All right, so then the last thing that I've got is, what is the future of Daywalker Productions?
I've got 3 games that I'm currently working on. I've got one that should be wrapping up hopefully mid next year, like maybe third quarter next year. So it won't be at Gen Con next year. Like, it might be the year after that.
Okay.
But just continue to make games and selling moments. Just try, that when you're playing games and everybody's like, oh, I can't believe, oh, everybody freaks out. It fills you,
Right.
And like that's why I do it. And I just want to keep doing it. I'm chasing the dragon now. Like,
Chasing the dragon. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So if somebody were to want to buy your products, where could they go to get it?
we're here till Sunday, booth 2765. After that, you can go to the website, which is daywalker.com. It's daywalk3r.com. And there you have access to both games. You'll be able to get information on like what games I'm currently working on, kind of where they're at in the process. And it also has all the updated FAQs, how to play videos. Past the Anthrax actually has an alternate game mode, so you can play some of the higher count like cards and lower count player games.
Nice.
But all that's available on the website. We also have a little bit of merch on there, so you can support me that way as well.
Awesome. Well, definitely check out this booth if you guys are here at Gen Con. I know I'm going to be at least getting the bio. I'm probably going to be getting both if I'm honest here. But I'm a huge fan of Uno, so I'm definitely going to be picking that up. But I definitely recommend these things. I've been looking at these for quite a while and never had the chance to buy it. But this is an awesome little booth here, and definitely come by. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we did purchase both of those games, the Past the Anthrax and the Bio. So we will be playing that, maybe not here, but actually like in a different location. I'm going to hopefully be able to get him back and do maybe a little demo for us. But we are definitely going to be playing that one. But they did have a lot of different demos and things at Gen Con, which we'll show here, the different tables and things like that.
Well, and they did have not just board games. There were some video game sections. One of them was Everdell. Everdell was a pretty big game right now on Steam. It's got really good reviews overall. But there are several games that were kind of like fantasy-ish, fantasy-like, because most of the board games are fantasy-centered. But it's probably about a 60-40, because there's another big fandom in Gen Con that is the Warhammer universe. which is clearly a sci-fi style universe. That is Warhammer 40K. There is a Warhammer, just plain Warhammer, which is fantasy based. But a lot of Warhammer that you see when you go to Gen Con is going to be the Warhammer 40K. That's 90% of it. But there was a lot of, like I said, the big ones were there. Settlers of Catan, one of the older, bigger board games of almost all time. He didn't really have anything like, you can think of generically Monopoly, Trouble, all those kind of standard family games. There wasn't any of that really there. That's because it's mostly focused on, you would almost say, the next level or more difficult content. Stuff that's got a lot more rules to it, or things that are new and emerging, because there are a lot of small games that are very quick and easy to play, that you can play within 15, 30 minutes for a game.
Now, unfortunately,
it can take a lot longer than that.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to take video of it, but there was a cool little not video game, but a board game that we did purchase, and we are going to be playing on here. But it was called Candyman. And that one, we just kind of went down afterwards to get some video and stuff without the crowd there.
Yeah, late night, Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday night, but they were demoing that off to the side in one of the little designated areas, and we just kept hearing them scream, like, rip it off, and we had to go over and take a look, but we were really, like, focused in the game, and unfortunately didn't get any video of them playing it. I like to get permission from people to videotape them beforehand. But
I'd say there was probably about 100 people, maybe, within an area.
There was at least, like, 8 tables.
Yeah, I think there was more than that, but there was many circular tables, and I think there was 8 people per game was maximum. I think what that is. But there was about 8 people around each table, and there were quite a few. And usually, when one table started chanting, the next few tables around them would start chanting. So you'd have 30, 40 people chanting "Rip it off" really loud. And
behold the head of my enemy.
Yeah, one of the guys. I'm not going to explain the whole point of the game here, but maybe that'll be a demo for you all. The gist of it is, you're trying to build your own gingerbread man by taking parts from other people's gingerbread man. So he made him rip off a piece of paper that's their gingerbread man of their head, and like, behold the head of my enemies, like Amber said. It was great. Yeah,
but they also had like a bunch of different tables where they had like scenes set up and things like that. And the nice thing is, like, of course, D&D games, there's one-shots there and things like that, but they're also, like, they know that it's going to take a few days to get through a certain, like, campaign or something. So they do have tables set up, and they'll just kind of, like, put something over it so that it can't be disturbed that night, because there are still things going on at night.
Class or something.
Yeah, and they don't want people messing with their games while they're doing other things, so they put a little cloth in there, and they can pick up right back where they left off the next day.
There was capacity for more, but there was at least probably 30 Warhammer games running.
Oh, God.
Because there was just stuff draped over tables all over the place. But there was, I can't even really guess, but there was probably about, they would be sectioned off in, I think, 200-foot sections. And I think there was like 6 to 8, I don't remember, sections. So 200 times is 6 or 8 times. And then there was probably 15 rows all the way down.
Yeah.
And probably a good third of that was Warhammer.
Yeah.
I'd say about
like the whole, like, when you'll see in the videos, like, there's on the right, there's like the Masquerade and vampires and stuff like that, but on the left it's pretty much like, you had your Star Wars, Warhammer and stuff like that, but like that whole left section is just full of Warhammer and like the different settings and stuff where you can set up and go. But they also had a section on the opposite side that had a bunch of different types of games, but they had like the pirate ship going on. There was a Pokemon tournament going on.
Yeah, the pirate ship was pretty cool because it was just, you can use it for any tabletop game essentially, but I'm assuming it's maybe used for D&D, but it was just a huge multi-layer ship that they used to kind of really hard paper, kind of like cardboard, but I don't know exactly what it was made of, but it's just a hard paper folded multiple times, and they kind of looked like they had a glue on it, so it's really sturdy. But you could put your characters in each level, so you could kind of get a context for, you can't hear what's going up 2 decks above you because you're down at the bottom of the ship. So.
Yeah, and there was like 4 or 5 levels to that ship, so it was like really cool. I would love to have one of those just for like a ship one-shot one day. But past that, you had a bunch of booths and things like that. You had, like I said, you have Paizo, where you could buy the books and minis and things like that. They had tons of dice. There were some fancy dice. There were some basic dice.
Sets of dice for $125.
There were fluffy things that I wish that I would have bought the little wizard, but unfortunately, by the time we went around to buying our purchases, they were gone. But it's okay. That little fluffy wizard lives on in my heart.
One of the most unique things I think I saw there was the Legos. I didn't think of that place as much for a section for Legos, and it was just one booth, really. That's all that I ever saw. But it was obviously not all Legos in imagination, but as far as the characters go, the entire front of that booth, which is a very large booth, it was like a triple or quadruple sized booth.
Oh yeah, there were at least like 4 tables set up for it.
And that entire front section was just probably like every 2 inches was another Lego character, from old Lego sets, new Lego sets.
And then like behind it, there was like a row of them behind them. So like you had a ton of different Legos. And then you had like Lego jewelry, Lego like accessories and stuff like that.
Lego colored blocks. So you could have, it's almost like a Lego store where you can pick any of the Lego types, colors, and sizes to mix and match, make your own stuff. But it was actually really neat. I didn't think to see Lego there.
Yeah, well, I mean, they even had like furniture there. So like, of course, you've got our table. Yeah, Wormwood. They had all of their big stuff there. There was a couple of other places that were near it that also did tables. Don't get me wrong, I think Wormwood is great and it does excellent. Its quality, you can tell by sitting at those tables, like it is sturdy wood. But while you can mix and match and things like that, there was another booth behind it. The gentleman that we talked to said that he had just started up and was really like wanting to get out there. But I mean, it had little Nordic runes inside of it. They had little like fake lanterns and things like that on it and things like that. It just really set the mood.
Yeah, once we, I was looking for the card. I had the gentleman's card, but once we get that information, we're going to put it up probably about here. You can start seeing a couple of the pictures we took. It was a very interesting table. And we wanted to recognize this gentleman, so that way we didn't just kind of like, hey, here's your table, but we're not going to say who it is.
No, but I think that really cool. Overall, like if we ever buy a table that's made for gaming, like the thing that I really prefer, like being a DM myself in games, is a lot of those tables you can get at Wormwood and stuff. It's an addition to add on to those for a DM, but it's kind of wonky looking. His was actually built into the table, had like USB and outlets there, and it gave you room to put your minis that wouldn't like ruin the area for like your books and your papers and stuff. So it really, like, I really liked that table. But you had the tables, you had the dice and everything, and of course, like they even had a little section for a new game out there, which is like the Great American Mail Race or whatever. One of our friends, or Matt, did purchase that one, but they had a cool little mail truck there, and
a working one.
Yes, a working one that our buddy's kid did find out. As we were walking away from the booth, we could hear a little meep, and you hear him go. And what we didn't catch, unfortunately, on camera was him going, "It's real!" So,
hello everyone, this is Matt from Nerding Out TV. Just coming to you to review one of the games that we just got from Gen Con 2022. And it's called the Great American Mail Race. So what's awesome about this game is this actually basically lets you be a United States Postal Service worker delivering mail across the country. So what's really great about this game is it's a very easy, friendly, fun game. So you can play with your children that's, about 8, 9, 10 years old, all the way up to whoever, how old they are, as long as they can understand how to play the game. Super simple, easy to play. And basically all you're doing is literally just going across the country, going to certain mail depots, picking up letters and parcels, and then delivering them to certain locations and possibly picking up a few extra postcards on your way to delivering those items as well. What's awesome about this game was made by Big Potato Games. They make games like the Chameleon game, the Blockbuster game, things like that as well that you might have seen in your local shops like Target or just local board game shops in general. But usually they're very uncomplicated games and got a decently good replay value. Me and my girlfriend played this last night. We loved it. Super easy. It took us a little bit over an hour to play, but we was also playing it for the first time. So, checking the rules, making sure that we're doing things right, and making sure we understood the fundamentals of the games as well. And basically the game's real simple. You start off with your bicycle as a post office, and you can use that bicycle as much as you want. That's one of your cards that you will never discard. And that just basically lets you travel from one city to another using a actual asphalt road to get from one city to another. You do have a few different other ways to travel. Like I said, you have your asphalt roads you can travel by water, you can travel by air, You'd also travel off-road, and then you also have trains you can travel on as well. So going through basically the generations of the USPS all the way from the beginning all the way to now, you're going to hit all those different types of delivery methods they had. You're going to go from a mule, bicycle, and Pony Express, even a hot air balloon in that first generation set of cards. And then as you go in, not only is it going to add more of those first generation cards to the second generation, but you're going to get a few more cards like your regular mail trucks. You're going to get some motorcycles. You're going to get mail jump, basically someone who can travel by the waterways and be able to go from one city to another and then jump off and deliver that mail and get right back on the ship. But you also are going to get, in that third generation, some more cards, which includes an off-road mail truck. It's going to include a motorcycle, airplane that can go from airport to airport, and then also a seaplane that can go from the water to an airport as well. The other thing that's really cool in here that you get just a one option card is going to be a rocket ship, and that's going to allow you basically to go from any location to another and be able to make it in time as you need to. Some of the really cool things about this game is it's real simple. You're just taking letters, delivering it there. As you deliver a certain amount of letters, you get more and more points. So for one letter, you get 2 points. Two letters, you get 6 points. 3 letters, you get like 15. 4 letters, you get 20 points. And then same thing with parcels. Parcels are going to be different little cards, and they're going to look like packages instead of envelopes. And some of those parcels will actually have the words fragile on it. Not only are you going to get points for those fragile parcels, but you also get bonus points for it being a fragile product as well. And then you get into some of the other mechanics of the game. You have the ability to assist other delivery men on your table. So I can go up as I'm going through a location and passing through another delivery person. I can either assist them with one of their deliveries and be able to take it and put it on mine, which would give me that envelope and that little mailbox to deliver that letter for them, which then I get the credit for, or I can have them assist in one of my deliveries that I don't want to do and make them have to do it first. So it's really nice in that sense where you can kind of help yourself some by taking or giving certain packages away that you don't want to deliver yourself. But other than that, super simple game, very easy to play. I can't really say enough about it. I've played it a little bit at Gen Con itself, then we played a full version of it. I have a board game group that we play on Sundays, and I can't wait to play a 4-person game because I think it's going to play a lot better. One of the negatives I would say about it is that at the lower group rate, so if you're playing 2 players, 3 players, the ability to be able to deliver packages and not run across each other as much to where you can assist or take someone's delivery or give them one they don't need does become somewhat of a non-point. So we're trying to go in and give someone, we're trying to get all our mail delivered and stuff, and it was real easy to get all of our packages delivered, all of our envelopes, a lot of the bonuses you can get stuff. It seemed kind of easy 2-player, so I think adding more people is going to make it hard to go and make the game end a little bit quicker because you're drawing more and more of those transportation cards. So if I had to rate this game, I'd give it a nice 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, just because it's a great family game. You can play with, like I said, smaller children, all the way up to your adult family members as well, and be able to play and everyone understand the game very easily. And like I said, I really do like the replayability in this game a lot. So, like I said, I'm going to start trying to do these reviews on board games a lot more on this channel. If you do have any comments or concerns or other suggestions of games I can review, please put them in the comments. I would love to do those reviews for you. Maybe even do a whole session where we do an entire podcast where we play a game live for you all, and you can watch it and see how the game's played as well. With that being said, please like, subscribe, and leave any comments you can, and look forward to playing more games with you all in the future. Thank you all.
They really had some cool and unique things there. Something I did not get on camera was because we were just going to get our purchases at the end of the convention to leave. I didn't think to record because I didn't really think I was going to have an amazing experience. I just knew that I wanted to see the booth. Was the Zombie Orpheus Productions, or as I knew them as Dead Gentleman Productions. If you've never seen the movie The Gamers, Darkness Rising, or Journey Quest, or any of those things, Households and Humans, they make those movies, and they're probably the truest form of Dungeons and Dragons in a movie adaptation whatsoever. And that's how I actually got into Dungeons and Dragons, was watching Darkness Rising. And when I got there, there was a lady there. She was talking to me about it, and I had mentioned that, this is what actually got me into playing Dungeons and Dragons. And the gentleman's head popped up that was behind her, and it was actually the Wild Mage from the movie. Unfortunately, they were going out to do some like last minute interviews and things like that, so I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But I did get a chance to sit and talk to Kevin in the movie, which is the DM in that one, and I got to, like I said, talk to him a little bit. I got a signed poster from him. I got a pile of dead bards from the movie, and I had him sign the CD for the movie as well, just because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. So that was really cool that I got to experience that at the very end. We weren't going to go for Sunday because it's just kind of like, rounding up and heading for home, as they say in baseball.
But it was $16, so
exactly.
Yeah, the 4-day pass is $125 for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But Saturday alone, if you just buy that, which is when we went, was only $80. So after we heard the Sunday was only $16, we're like, $16, let's go ahead and go.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that we did. I was so excited to actually be able. I've been to that booth and seen them at like San Diego Comic-Con so many times, but it was nice to actually talk.
Well, and one thing we'll mention is kind of what our take on is of the con itself, depending on the days. So we didn't actually, unfortunately, get to go on Thursday or Friday, but we did, of course, go Saturday, Sunday. Amber has been to multiple cons before, but the idea of it is, if you want to be the most likely to get exclusive items or rare items that there's a limited quantity of, new games that they person only brought like 10 of them with, you want to go as soon as possible. So even on Thursday, you may not be able to get it if you get there late, because there are a lot of collectors and a lot of people that are really into this stuff, that if there's something new or something that a game that they already know, but there's a special edition coming out or a book, they will be knowing when that is going to be there, and they will be there as soon as possible to grab that up. So the purpose of like a Thursday would most likely be for getting those exclusives, just to kind of go when it's not as busy, because you're not going to have near as many people as any of the other days. Friday will begin to pick up. You'll probably see a lot of cosplay start Friday, and then peak on Saturday. Of course, the most number of people Saturday.
I don't know. I feel like this, like he said, I have been to a lot of conventions. This one seems to be a lot more homey than any of the conventions that I've been to. I've been to Gen Con before, but
There's
just
still plenty of butt cracks everywhere.
You don't even know. Just walking, it's like you could pull your pants up. You have nothing in your hands. Why am I seeing your ass crack? Whatever. But like, I feel like this one is just everybody is they're there for the same reason. They love playing board games. They love the whole, you could just sit at a table and be like, mind if I sit here? Mind if I play with you all? And it's just as if you've been playing with them for years. Yep. Cosplay is not that big at Gen Con, though there are a lot of people that will do it. But I feel like they're usually doing, like you see a lot of hobbits running around. You see a lot of that kind of clothing running around,
more
playing
of the
their
generic,
character.
kind of like almost Ren Fair cosplay.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of that. Renaissance Fair.
Very little anime. There was like 2 booths of anime there, and I thought maybe like 4 people that I saw that were dressed up as anime characters, but the majority of them, I was actually surprised I didn't see any Critical Role costumes. Like that was.
I did the first time you brought me in.
I saw a Percy.
There's Vex. From first
I saw
season
Vex,
Critical Role.
Vax, and Percy. That's about it. But I did not see. I could probably count it in like the single digits of how many that I saw. Everything else was their own like unique thing. So, which is fantastic.
There was a Geralt the Witcher. I saw one.
Yes.
Now I will say, personal takes already from Gen Con. This is Amber's first Gen Con, definitely my first Gen Con, but
second Gen Con.
Oh, okay.
I told you, 2014.
Okay, that's right. So second Gen Con, but I think both of us still had a pretty big takeaway from this. One of the biggest things I would suggest going to Gen Con is doing a little bit of research of what games you enjoy, and then finding groups to play with. There is so many rooms, and even in the
convention or the hotel
area,
rooms.
Yeah, the hotels around it. But even in the convention itself, there's so many places to play games there, and there are tons of sections of, like, they're free obviously, but you just get to use them borrow them for a little while and put them back. Almost any game you can imagine.
They have a library of books and stuff and play games that you can play. Lucas Oil Stadium, which is the Colts, I believe.
Yeah,
Sports
Colts.
ball. It's the Colts home, but they actually had that emptied out for a escape room that was like Dungeons and Dragons themed. So I mean, there's something for everyone, and it can get very overwhelming if you don't know like what you're into.
I would say if you're going to go, try to go for multiple days. If you have the time and whatever necessary to go multiple days, but spend probably the first day scouting, your earliest day, hopefully a Thursday or Friday, scouting and enjoying the convention, just kind of like as a observer, just kind of taking it all in for the first time that year. Go around, enjoy your time, buy your stuff, get that out of the way. And then, since you've scouted around, you kind of get the layout, you know where the board games are going to be. Start finding groups maybe either at the end of that day or on a Saturday, Sunday to play with, because there are, like I said, tons of people. There'll be nice groups that will also help you learn the game. Now, you do want to be pretty quick on learning so you don't hold the whole group back, but don't worry. Just jumping in a game is going to be the best way to learn more than anywhere. If you try to look it up online, you're going to be like, that doesn't make any sense. There'll be plenty of people to watch. There'll be turns where you get to see how they did it. Just jump in, enjoy the games, but get to know everything first time, so that kind of initial like overload, headache, overstimulation of everything going on, you don't have to worry about that. And then the second day or third day that you're there, find groups to play with, because you could probably even just like name drop, say, here's my phone number if you want, of some groups that you might see they're having a lot of fun. Say, hey, could I play maybe tomorrow? And if they're there, they might let you in. But do get to know whatever you like to, because I think that there are so many games out there. Definitely try stuff. That's one of my favorite things, is just you're there, enjoy new things as well.
Well, they also have those little areas that are off to the side that have like a bunch of different games that you can rent if they'll, you know, write your name down and stuff so that they know you took it. But you can try out the games and everything too. So if you don't like, 'cause some games, like I think the one that Matt wanted at the very beginning was $180 on its own. If you don't know if you will like the game, more than likely they're going to have something or at least close to it, so you'll see if you like the concept of it there for you to try before you spend $180 on Gloomhaven.
One other very big thing, caveat to remember and understand while you're at the convention: know what you need, what you want when going in and out, because it is a pretty good walk going anywhere. The stuff is kind of expensive. Food and drink is expensive-ish there. Not terrible, but it's more expensive than it needs to be.
I will have you know that I enjoyed my $52 cup.
But the important thing is you don't get cell signal. You do every once in a while. But even sending a message, just a text message, would sometimes take anywhere from 10 seconds to 15 minutes. It just was spotty. You definitely can't search any web pages. The data is what's the worst. So, you know, make sure we had 4 to 5 bars or 3 to 4 bars the entire time. We were doing good on signal, but the throughput for the towers was just way too much for too many people in one spot. So if you need to look up something, try to have it already preloaded on a web page, or just commit it to memory, write it down. You will not get any service pretty much anywhere in that convention.
Yeah, thank God that I actually, like, when I had the time in between lunches and things at work, I actually wrote down the different panels and stuff that I wanted to go to, so that I could put them on the app, because the app was so bombarded with people that I could try my best to like look at the map, see where I'm going for that panel and everything, and like I ended up having to use the guidebook that it comes whenever you get your badge and stuff like that, because the app would not load. You can search if it's working, but like you would click that search button so many times and it would just like never actually load for you. And I know it wasn't just my phone, but like I say that's the only con that I have for this convention, is that like I understand that, like, you know, you have a lot of people that are trying to get on the internet, that are trying to share on Facebook. They're trying to take, like, you know, tell people, tell videos and things like that. But like, when you have a huge convention that spans like the entire building and the buildings surrounding it and the baseball field next to it and the football field that's next to it, I would really, really hope that you have an application that would help you be able to do things. Something so small like ASIN that we go to. If you...
What's the cell towers? Remember we tried to order food from Giordano's and it didn't work either. So
after I took it off of internet, yes. But like my biggest thing for like Anime Central, it's not a small convention, but compared to Gen Con, it's a small convention. And if you show that you want to go to a panel, you can click on location, and it'll actually show you where it is on the map of the convention itself, so that you know exactly where you're going. On Gen Con, it'll show you where it's at, but it won't actually, like, you can't click on it to actually take you to where it is on your map. So I could get it to work a couple of different times, but for the majority of the time, if I clicked on it, it would not take me there. I'd have to like zoom in and try and move it, and then it'd have to load again and everything. So I know it's a lot of people and everything like that, but I just really wish that that was a little bit better handled, because it's kind of frustrating when you're in the middle of, like, I knew that I had to leave and stop taking video at noon to get to a panel that started at 1 because I had to find it. So that's just a little bit of the downside of this convention, and of course it being so big and things like that. But overall, this was probably one of my favorite conventions to go to. I didn't get to do much the first time I went to Gen Con because we were actually going there for one panel, and that was the one for the Gamers 3 movie, so that we could be in the movie. Otherwise, we didn't really get to do much there. The girl that I went with wasn't very much into board games, but this was actually the first time going through and seeing everything. This was a much more homey convention than anything I've ever been to, and I really, really enjoyed myself. And especially being on the press side of things, it was a lot of fun to be able to go and like interact with everybody, and everybody was like very nice. They were okay with taking some time and talking to you about the product and everything, because they know that's what you're there for. You want to play the games.
Well, a lot of the vendors too, if you see some of the filming that both me and Amber did, the vendors would also just give you little peace signs, rock signs, whatever. They were enjoying themselves there. A couple of them were probably tired after a while because it was Sunday. They've been there for 4 days. But overall, it was a very homey feel, like Amber mentioned.
We even found some puppies that some of the people that work there have, and their daughter and things like that. We had a nice little conversation with an older lady that was there demoing a game. So they are extremely nice. So, but that's us on Gen Con. You'll be seeing like anything that we saw on there throughout the video, any like upcoming releases. There wasn't too many like new games that were shown off, more so ones that we already knew were out, but like demos for them and pretty little like demos for those. But otherwise, definitely going to be going back next year. We're going to have a lot more lined up because hopefully we'll be able to go for the entirety of it, and hopefully we'll be big enough to where we can actually get a press badge for it and go behind the scenes and do a lot more interviews, because like it's just so much fun to be able to see the thought and process that went through making all of these games. But we will have videos up on the ones that we did purchase. Our buddy spent so much money on board games. We will be going hopefully through some of those. But otherwise, keep an eye out for that, and we will see you in the next video.
All right. Thank you all. Bye.